Hello and thank you for joining the Monday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. Today on the program, bandits killed 93 persons in Zamfara State, 12 in Sokoto-Gusau Road, and abduct 12 in Zaria as Governor Matawale taxed residents on self-defense. Governor Zulum shares food and 125.5 million naira cash to 40,000 families in Damboa, says Boko Haram lures recruits with 5,000 naira. And later on the show, price of Nigeria's burning light hovers at $71.73 per barrel as OPEC puts country's outputs at 1.344 million barrels per day. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emeka Madunagu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. As banditry is concerned, Zamfara State is still in the thick of the storm. In fresh attacks, armed bandits killed 93 persons in Kadawa village in Zomi local government area of the state, while many others were severely wounded. Following the killings, Governor Bello Matawale suspended the Emir of Zomi, Abubakar Mohammed, for alleged complicity in banditry in the area. Governor Matawale urged citizens to defend themselves when attacked rather than waiting for government. Another set of bandits killed 12 farmers and injured 9 others in attacks on 2 communities along Gusau-Sokoto Road, while 12 people were kidnapped in Zaria, Kaduna State. Babajide, this is a new dimension. The people up there, the ministers, governors, they are now telling Nigerians to learn how to defend themselves against these bandits.
I'm surprised that Governor Bello Matawale could be saying this. I don't know what, from experience, every time people try to defend themselves against these bandits, they come back and kill, in some cases, up to 100 people. The governor is from Zamfara State. He knows that in the past, bandits have killed up to 100 in one town in one day because vigilantes stood up to them. On the day Goodluck Jonathan went to campaign in Katsina State in 2015, bandits killed about 110 people in one town because as a way of avenging the attack on their men by vigilantes. We've seen it also in Niger State, bandits slaughtering vigilantes. Now, these are people who even have den guns and cord girls and all that, to defend themselves.
The citizens, so where would they get the capacity to face these people?
If bandits, if vigilantes, some of them who have charms, who have weapons, can be slaughtered the way these bandits are killing people, if these bandits can go and chase away the military from their bases in Niger State, it is on record. How do we then expect individuals to stand up to them? Why are these Nigerian leaders talking in this manner? It is not the responsibility of the ordinary folk to defend themselves.
Because you've not even
when you do that, they die more.
You've not even approved of citizens to be carrying guns.
So with what? With bare hands?
So, I don't know.
There was a time, some time ago, under the Buhari administration, the Minister of Defense was from this Zamfara. He couldn't do anything about killings. Right now, the Chief of Army Staff is from this Zamfara. And people will die, about 90 persons, 93 persons killed across 4 villages or 5 villages in one local government alone, Zulum. And Zulum has a history of banditry, people being killed for fun. And you are saying they should defend themselves. How? How are they going to defend themselves? How many of the governors and the ministers who are telling people to defend themselves, how many of them move around without a heavy military escort in today's Nigeria?
Or bulletproof cars.
How many of them even ride on the dangerous highways?
They fly.
They rather fly. I was reading today that the aviation sector is beginning to pick up based on insecurity. New routes are being opened. Before now, we didn't have direct flight from Katsina to Abuja. We don't have. Nobody wants to travel by road anymore. Yes, Katsina to Abuja now, you can fly.
Before, you had to go to Kano before.
Yes, and then travel like two hours. That was how we were doing it before. But now, even that short road, that road between Kano and Katsina, people don't even want to take that risk. They would rather just fly straight. That's why many people are entering trains, including soldiers. Soldiers too are too scared of the Kaduna-Abuja highway. Many of them enter train. When they now get to the train terminals in Kaduna, you see their convoys will now come and pick them up. This is the truth. This is the truth. Anybody who is in doubt of this should go there and prove me wrong. Whether you won't see security people who chose to enter train instead of coming by road, because they too will be kidnapped.
Because these bandits, they've collected ransom over and over again, and they have access to sophisticated weapons. And an average Nigerian is struggling to even to look for the next meal. So how do we defend ourselves against these bandits? No, more equipped?
The reality is that we can't defend ourselves. We are not trained to, we are not trained, civilians are not trained in warfare, military warfare. They are not trained to handle weapons. So you just have interventions like vigilantes, who handle basic weapons. They are not trained in handling sophisticated weapons. But when you now find civilians graduating, like you had the Niger Delta militants, graduating to the level of handling sophisticated weapons, it becomes another problem entirely. It leads to unintended consequences. They go out of hand. So if you are telling the people to defend themselves, you must be ready, first of all, to provide them with the weapons. Minimum AK-47, correct weapons, good rifles. You must be ready to provide them with that, one. Then again, you must be ready to give them good training in handling these weapons and in facing these bandits. Now, you must look at the unintended consequences, because by the time you take away the bandits, you are now going to have to contend with well-trained, and non-military combatants. How do you now deal with that? That's another problem in the future. So the basic thing is that government should live up to its responsibility in the constitution, which is that government exists for the well-being and the security of the people. But for a governor, in fact, not just one governor, for governors to be, you had the governor of Zamfara said so, the governor of Ebonyi State said the same thing, that you should defend yourselves against, but then why are they in office? I believe if a governor knows that he has got to the point where he cannot really do anything about security, he should resign. This governor should resign. You see, it's embarrassing that you have governors still in office who are claiming, that they are in control of their states. They tell you they are popular in their states, but the basic thing, the first duty that the Constitution outlines, which is the responsibility of government, well-being and safety of the people, is zero. They've scored zero. So what are you now doing in office? First of all, the governor should resign. Then secondly, you see, the president must come to reality. The president, from the look of things, is not getting the right kind of advice. If you look at certain pronouncements, recent pronouncements, he's not getting good advice. So the president must look at it as a national emergency. We are in a national emergency, whereby you must now draw more elements from the police, from the civil defense, to assist in this war. It's not just the military, because the military is overstretched.
Okay. Emeka was talking about the governor, throwing the towel. But in reality, when you listen to President Buhari last week, President Buhari was saying that the people who elected the governors must learn how to protect their people. But when I check through our constitution, they don't have control of this power. Police is not in their custody, the military is not in their custody, even civil defense.
Now you know where the governors are hamstrung. The governor of Niger State, his father and President Buhari are very good friends. Very, very good friends. One of the closest to the president. Okay. Now, that governor when they were killing his people, as if bandits were in a target practice with his people. The governor came out to say that he had been begging Abuja to send more troops. He had been begging Abuja to send more troops to protect the people. Just Google it, you will see where governors are increasingly being frustrated. Because when people say, oh, they collect security vote, it's absolute rubbish. It is not security vote that guarantees the protection of people. You cannot simply use money to protect people.
When you are not in control of...
You are not, you have... Okay, you have had promises made to governors that, okay, we are going to send you like 6,000 more troops. And months after, they will not get those troops. So how do you then blame the governor? We don't just like the truth in this country.
The way President Buhari was talking, it was as if you are elected to protect your people.
How?
That's what I'm asking.
But the same governors come out to, tell you that they're in control. In control of what? Let us speak the truth.
The governors have always said that they do not control the armed forces. In this war, it is not you and I that can win this war.
No.
With the weapons at the disposal of those people, it is an army that is well trained that can take them on, and nobody has the right to declare war, to levy war in any part of Nigeria that involves the use of the armed forces, except the president. He is the only one with the power to deploy those places. So when you exaggerate the capacity of a governor because he collects security votes, I know a governor who in one day bought 80 trucks for the armed forces, for the police. 80 Isuzu Tiger, those vehicles that they use. Now, that is part of, using the resources at his disposal to help the armed forces to win this war. The governor of Kaduna State once came out to say that the governors of the Northwest came together, contributed tens of billions for the armed forces for this war. So no one can say that they are not making efforts. They pay allowances to the armed forces. They pay. They give them.
Look at what someone just did to RRS in Lagos.
Since the era of Asiwaju in this state, more and more Nigerian governors have spent more money equipping the police than even the federal government. What are we talking about?
Yes, that is true.
That is a fact.
That's true.
Let's check the vehicles at the disposal of the police. Who are the people who gave them? Is it the federal government?
No.
But the power to deploy comes from the center. And that is why now it is becoming increasingly clear that the issue of state police must come in. Because when you don't have control over the coercive forces in your state, how do you are the governor, you know where you need troops the most, but you cannot find the troops.
You know flashpoints.
And even when you say, okay, you want to do a Amotekun or this thing, the Attorney General will start writing all kinds of letters as a means of discouraging people, and you now say they should go and protect themselves. Look at the war that the governors of the Southwest had to fight. Asiwaju even had to intervene before the Attorney General softened up. You don't even want them to take steps to protect themselves.
They can't even use AK-47.
They don't have it. Amotekun was warning after they kidnapped one guy around the quarry site in Ibadan. The headsman was saying, look, if any Amotekun comes, I will blow up his head. He's saying that because he knows the weapon that he has. I keep referring to what happened in Zamfara when the police commissioner was there, governor was there, and a bandit was saying, if not because he knows that one day he will go and face God, that he would not have agreed to a peace because you can't do anything to me.
That's the governor of Katsina, yes.
Did you see that?
Yes, yes, the governor of Katsina, yes.
That was what he was saying.
Okay, I have Wale from Lagos. Wale, are you still there?
Yeah, good evening, Ayo.
Good evening, Wale. Thank you for holding on.
Okay, my encyclopedia.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, and my brother, my professor's son.
Thank you.
Okay, please, let us tell ourselves the truth. Let us tell ourselves the truth today. Concerning insecurity, it is the duty of the president to secure the corporate Nigeria, not individual governors.
Yeah.
One, as you have said, the governors have no control over the brigade commander in the state.
Yes.
No control over the police commissioner.
Yes.
Okay? And the enemies of Nigeria, they don't want us to have state police that can be well armed to face these bandits. Are we going to hand over Nigeria to the bandits now? No, the president himself must wake up rather than dissipating energy on grazing routes, which will not solve the insecurity problem. The president must come out openly to support what is called state police so that they can complement the so-called federal police. When
Thank you, Wale.
directive.
So,
He was saying that we will start seeing how they will be dealing with bandits in that interview. So, what the same bandits will kill 93 in one local government. When are we going to see?
I thought
we
are tired of promises.
I'm saying repeatedly, who is interested in promises?
Now we
waste
made up our
them.
mind on
Don't
what
even
to
announce. Don't even announce to us that you want to waste them. Let us see you do it. I've been saying this for months. We are not interested in promises. Because these guys don't announce to us when they want to attack a community. Why are we saying that we will start seeing them being dealt with? Go ahead and do it.
Emeka, let me use the language of the president. In the language they understand, that we'll deal with them. Now, we still see these people running around, abducting people, collecting ransom. We'll still have students with them. We'll still have
those Niger
students with them. Even in Katsina State, even in Zamfara State.
Do you have the capacity to speak the language to them? The military is overstretched. What's the training level? You are retiring so many generals. You know, what is your capacity? In a time of war, you are retiring 70 generals. Who does that? That is self-immolation, just like setting yourself on fire. You know, so how do you expect to speak whatever language? The bandits are daily speaking the language you should speak to them. They are daily speaking the language to you. And not just speaking, they are spitting fire. You understand? And so the president, he is the commander-in-chief. He should take responsibility. Actually pushing it to the governors is the fact that, you see, the governors themselves, they have cried out, but you see, the Nigerian Governors Forum, Nigerian Governors Forum should come out openly and say, listen, Nigerians, this is what we've done. Come out with statistics. Just like Jide talked about, you know, the funding report. Since 1999, this is what the governors have done. This is what the states have done. Now, this is what give us statistics. And so Nigerians will now demand from their president. You are the commander-in-chief. If you know you are hamstrung, then pass some of these powers to the governors to take care of their people. But you cannot be telling governors to do. Yeah, the governors, they've tried with, you know, talking about vigilantes and all that. But it is not enough. And don't forget, these bandits, yes, they are operating in some of these states. They are also sneaking into other states. You know, they're also sneaking into other states, just doing some things here and there. So we must do, as a matter of fact, action must be taken. You see, all this grandstanding will not work. The federal government lacks the capacity to take on Boko Haram, bandits at the same time. They lack the capacity to take on criminals across the country. So what do? You have to now, the National Assembly must, as a matter of fact, in its constitutional review, take urgent steps to pass some of these powers to the governors. Otherwise, you see, it will get to a crisis point where they will not be able to do anything about it.
Okay, I have Debo calling from Ota in Ogun State. Thank you for joining us, Debo.
Yeah, good evening, guys. How are you?
Good evening, Debo.
I'm fine.
Please, I think the government is just telling us the truth. You know that they cannot help us, so we should try and help ourselves.
How do you?
But unfortunately, what they are saying is that they want us to pretend anarchy. Because if I have to defend myself, everybody else has to defend himself. It means we are taking up arms, and there will be anarchy.
Yes.
But if that is what we want, if that's what they want, I think we should go ahead and defend ourselves as well. Since they cannot do anything, they are always long on promises and very, very short on action. After all, we have always been taking care of ourselves. We build our own roads. We bore our own water boreholes. We do everything, but we are used to it. So if they want to also abdicate their responsibility in the area of security, let us put our faith in our hands. We put burglary proof around our houses.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution.
The president has said shoot anybody with an AK-47.
You will understand the fact that if we say a territory belongs to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, falls within the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that it's an aberration for any group of individual, any non-state actor to hold those territories, to put their flag anywhere in Nigeria. We still have some places.
So many. Even bandits have territories now.
That's the problem.
It's not Boko Haram alone that has territories.
If we are having warlords, Boko Haram is holding some territories.
Anybody who tells you that Boko Haram does not control a territory in Nigeria is a liar who does not fear God. I've said it before. I can mention places that till tomorrow Boko Haram is still in control of. And even these bandits, they have forests where you can locate them. You know that when they killed these people, they could not even bury their dead in their villages.
Yes,
they had to leave because the Zulum forest, those boys were in the Zulum forest and they knew that they could come and kill them even when they are burying their dead. They've done that in the past. You are conducting funeral, they will come and kill more people.
They did it in Plateau.
So this is the thing. Bandits have some parts of Nigeria in their hands, on Nigerian territory. Boko Haram controls some Nigerian territory at this time till tomorrow. So this, we can't continue like this. We just have to do something. Do something.
Are not protected.
Huh? How can we go on like this? 93 people, 124,000 people from Zamfara. They are now in IDP camps and all that. They are now refugees in their own state.
All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. Please don't go away. It's your favorite news and current affairs program, Journalist Hangout, reaching you live from TVC News. And I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju in the studio and Emeka Madunagu. Now, the more terrorists attack Borno states, the more the governor, Babagana Zulum, extend helping hands to victims and displaced persons. In one of such moves, Governor Zulum shared food items, cash gifts of 125.5 million naira and wrapper to 40,000 families in Damboa, 2 days after insurgents made an attempt on the town. Meanwhile, Governor Zulum said Boko Haram fighters now lure recruits into their group with as low as 5,000 naira. But he said he's tackling this by regularly visiting IDP camps to deliver food, cash, support, and other clothing to victims. Let's hear from Governor Babagana Zulum.
ga ruwa ya bude muku me kuma za a ce mishi ku da ni mishi addu'a domin Allah ya sa zaman lafiya ya dawo
da wuce da na kawo abinci ko an ba shi abinci gwamna ya zo ya raba musu kudi wannan ba zai yiwu ba gode muku yadda kun tashi kun tsaya a kan kusare mutane gaskiya kuna da kokari don saboda haka wajibi ne mu gode maka mun san kokari da kuke yi shi komanda na soja ma ya yi mun magana insha Allah zan zanna da leaders naku guda biyu kowane leaders naku in ji abubuwan da yake damun ku don saboda gaba muku bukata ku yanzu kuma akwai mutane biya ina tafiya amma zan sake dawowa kowa ya koma wajen aikin shi kowane ku zan bada 10,000 bayan haka da koma mai duguri zan aika muku abinci don saboda haka ba wa dogon magana yanzu nan na dawo na san namban ku zan irga ba chairman na local government ko kuma zan kirga ga soja dukkan ku wanda yana nan sai a ba ku kudin ku yanzu za mu zo mu kuje makaranta na san da wahalan ku na san yadda kuke rike kanku kun rike garin nan ba zan bar ku ba
ku da ni mishi addu'a domin
Jide, one thing I credit Governor Babagana Zulum for is his ability to understand the problem ravaging his people.
Connects with the people.
Yes, this is not the time. In that, where you have IDPs, this is not the time you want to build roads, you want to build big-time facilities, because those are secondary things. The permanent thing facing those guys now is survival.
Yes.
So,
he knows
distributing cash.
He knows that there's a truth. And, you know, he had to go to Diffa Prefecture in Niger Republic to also share money and wrappers to people.
We have an extended IDP camp there.
We have IDP
Even in Cameroon.
In Cameroon, we have in Niger Republic, we have in Chad.
In Chad.
You know?
Yes.
Anytime there's an attack in a border town, they will flee into Niger Republic. It happened even in Gaydam. People had to go and hide inside Niger Republic.
Even Benin Republic.
So now, he went there and about 4 persons were trampled to death because since 2014, they had not seen anyone come to them to give them something. So in this case, 14,900 male heads of families, he gave them grains like rice, maize, and beans. Then women, 25,100 female heads of households. They got wrapper and 5,000 each. That's 25,100 women, wrapper and 5,000 each. Why it is significant to me that he had to do this is because Damboa is one of the most dangerous parts of Borno State. It's so dangerous that the road, the Damboa to Maiduguri is just 83 kilometers, but nobody uses that road. They will have to first travel to Damaturu. You do 120 kilometers to Damaturu. From Damaturu, you will now go to Biu, another 130 kilometers. Then from Biu, you will now do 50 kilometers to Damboa, just to escape possible death in the hands of Boko Haram. And this is the community that this governor has gone to. In the past, the army used to escort traders, you know, from Maiduguri. They give them, they escort them with gun trucks and all that. But attacks on army, on troops, ambushes on troops on that road have become too much. So they now have to even stop using that road. Yeah, you can say just 83 kilometers, but now people are forced to do more than 300 kilometers just to get there. So this is the place that the governor has gone to. And when you are talking about the dreaded Timbuktu Triangle, it is in the Damboa area. Those boys refuse to leave the place, despite attacks by our troops. They refused to leave the place. That triangle, that Timbuktu Triangle, that was where General Adeni recorded that footage,
video
that leaked. You know, the Chief of Army Staff then told him to go and take that place, but they were resisted, and they had to retreat. So he shot that video in the bush where there was no network, in the hope that whenever he got to Maiduguri from his hotel, okay, he will now forward it. There will be network. The Chief of Army Staff will get it, but a wayward army officer leaked it to the internet, and he gave the world the wrong impression that he was complaining that he had no weapons to work with. No, he shot that video so that the man will see that, look, we are at the location, but this is the problem that we are facing. Look at the MRAP. The MRAP has lost his tire. Look at this, look at that. The tire. Yes, so that they don't say, they were afraid they didn't go to fight, but it was twisted. Good, I mean, credit to Governor Zulum that he continues to do this. If there's any governor that that connects with the ordinary man in our country currently, it has to be this governor. And that's why
Very simple.
his stock is rising. Look at Chibok. After the attack, the former administration, in fact, it was Okonjo-Iweala that went there and the foundation laying ceremony for the remodeling of that school where the attack took place. But since then, nothing happened. It is this governor that has now gone to complete a federal government project that was abandoned since 2014. You know? So it's significant that he's doing all of this.
Emeka, in the absence of this governor, if the governor fails in this responsibility, Boko Haram is already in the picture. They go to IDP camps to recruit these young men. Now you can see the number of men you have in that camp. You can see the number of women. You can imagine the number of youths that will be in that camp. So if Boko Haram is saying in the absence of governance or in the absence of government, so they will be paying 5,000 naira, it's going to be easy to lure these people.
Yeah.
Now we know that, look, how they recruit their people.
Yeah, of course. I mean, hunger knows no boundaries. As long as the people are hungry, they will be easy recruits into crime, into terrorism. But the governor, I must say, is a professor that knows what he's professing. He's doing well. He's connecting with the people. And he puts his life at a great risk. Yes. Unlike some of his colleagues who are absentee governors, they stay more in Abuja than in their states. But he is on ground in a war-ravaged state. In a war-ravaged state.
Even when he's going to Abuja, he sits in the economy.
Yeah, in a war-ravaged state.
And even when he's always one of those governors that
when it's in Abuja, you know the reason for his trip is clearly stated. And then the next thing you hear, he is back in Borno State. So the man, is really...
Look at the camp.
I think I think really, I agree with you. That is the most, is the best performing.
So Boko Haram can easily penetrate this place now.
Of course. They've been recruiting. They recruit people from IDP camps. They recruit so-called repented Boko Haram guys. We have a problem now with that. In fact, the senator representing Borno South, Damboa is part of Borno South. The senator representing Borno South, Aliun Dume, said that increasingly these so-called repented Boko Haram, yes, they go back to the forest to meet their mates.
Wow.
Before he was talking about one that even sold these things. They sold these things and went back to meet his people. There was one that killed his dad and sold his cattle and then went back into the forest. So when we say we are de-radicalizing people, we have to know what we are doing. Because some of them are already
indoctrinated in that.
Thoroughly indoctrinated that you cannot change them. It's a waste of time thinking that you can change them. So this is the problem. They know that there is so much unemployment. You saw the picture during the last Salah, when they were distributing, Boko Haram put stacks of Naira notes on the table and they were giving people.
You are distributing.
Just distributing money.
So you feel the void. You feel the vacuum.
Yes. When there's failure of governance, what do you expect?
They pay as little as 5,000 to people to help them spy on our troops. So that's why Boko Haram is able to know about troops movement and all that. I won't be surprised if it was residents of maybe Minok area that even told them that Nigeria had just received those MRAPs.
Yes.
And Boko Haram launched an attack in daytime to collect high-grade weapons from the army.
Edward,
so this is the thing.
Edward is calling us from Akure in Ondo State. Thank you for joining us, Edward.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Edward.
Okay. How is everything?
Yeah. Cool. Yourself know now.
My contribution is this. Now, with the present government, I think we have three problems in which is confronting this government. And the first one is slowness. The government is slow. The second one is corruption. And the third one is tribal sentiment. This tribal sentiment, I don't know, maybe an Igbo man can see Igbo people committing crimes, and just be killing them. It is rampant in Nigeria, and that one is, you know.
All right, Edward. Okay. So, reaching home stretch now, gentlemen, we have some other villages, we have some other abandoned areas in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa that they don't feel the presence of government. They don't have electricity, and you will know that this is a territory of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because no government presence whatsoever, no hospitals, no schools, and everything. And Boko Haram will just come in and they'll start, they'll colonize them, give them money, and become their own local government.
Like these ISWAP guys now, what they are trying to give the impression that, look, Shekau was bloodthirsty, was a psychopath. We are not like that. We are only fighting the army, the police, civil defense, civilian JTF, and maybe even agro rangers. Although agro rangers are deployed to the farms in Borno State, so they don't really do as much as the civil defense and civilian JTF and the army does. So they want the citizens to like them. So Abu Musab Abanawi, his own message is, look, I can allow you return to your farms as long as you pay me tax.
They're playing the popularity card.
Yes, as long as you pay me tax on your feet that you are tilling, you are free to do farming. It is a cow that will go and kill people on their farms and steal people's people's grains and all that. They are trying to say, look, we are only after the army and the other security agencies that kill us. So with this, people will feel comfortable in an area that Boko Haram controls, maybe some parts of Borno North, for example. And if you notice, even attacks on people have reduced drastically since the death of Shekau. Those attacks have reduced. I was speaking with people who are resident there. The people, some of them will feel comfortable now. Let us go and farm, because they will think that no, these guys will not come and kill them. But the fact still remains that even the Shekau's group is still there, because there is a new leader for Shekau's group who is trying to ensure that the ISWAP guys do not regain territories that Shekau used to control, because Shekau had far bigger territory than ISWAP. ISWAP has resources. They have resources, they have weapons, but they don't have enough foot soldiers to man all of those areas that Shekau was controlled from Sambisa right up to Mandara Mountains in Borno South. They can move from Mandara Mountains to the other side, which is Cameroon. So all of that Borno South and the entire Sambisa forest belong to him. Now, if ISWAP wants to take over those territories, but where are the people to man them? They don't have so many. So that's why they are desperate now to recruit as many people as they can find. And it's a good thing that the governor has identified that there is this threat, and he too has to go to places where he knows that they are likely. This is when they were praying during Salah, and he has to go to places that they usually target.
Is this ISWAP?
ISWAP people,
All right, and finally, some good news from the international markets for Nigeria, oil markets. The price of Bonny Light, Nigeria's oil grade, is hovering at $71.373 per barrel, as the Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, puts the country's output at 1.344 million barrels per day. This indicates an excess of $3.173 per barrel, as 7.89 trillion naira in 2021 budget was passed on $40 per barrel. Emeka, can you break this down?
Yeah, of course. What it means definitely is that
we predicated our budget on $40.
On $40 per barrel.
We've been experiencing the kind of stability.
1.83 million barrels production per day.
Okay.
So, but OPEC, it's two things now. The oil price as at this evening was $73.30. It has gone up from what it was in the morning, 71 point something dollars. Now it has gone up. And then OPEC has revised the production quota, you know, from 1.83 to 1.3 something million dollars.
They minimize it.
Yeah, but the thing is this, you see, so many countries now around the world are coming back. You know, driving is resuming, activities are resuming, factories are now producing, increasing demand. So there's increasing demand for oil. And the interesting thing there is that there is demand, there is space for, for more oil to be produced. Yes, it is more money for Nigeria, but because of, the problem with the refineries, our refineries are comatose. So we can't really say, okay, there's more money, and then it translates to, a brighter horizon for us. Because what it means is that fuel prices either have to increase, or government will have to increase the oil subsidy. So what it leaves us with now, because even the repair of Port Harcourt refinery there are still some hitches in it. So we are basically tied down with looking in the direction of Dangote refinery, starting production early next year. But now there's also the projection that in the next few months, oil price might hit $80. So where do we go from here?
Julie, what is the good news here?
Well, the good news is that after the recession that COVID-19 induced, pushing even some of the developed countries into recession, countries like France, we are now experiencing recovery.
Yes.
U.S. streets are now littered with vehicles, which means that, and you would also have observed that some of the anti-COVID-19 restrictions are being relaxed across the world. So production is going up and demand is getting higher because of anticipation of positive days ahead. For example, the G7, they announced that they were going to make 1 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccine available to countries across the world. This has given many people hope that the world will eventually defeat this pandemic. And the nature of crude oil as a volatile product ensures that price responds to even emotions. If people are, if for example, the world thinks that war could break out between Iran and Israel, the price of crude oil will respond to that. And if it's positive news too, that is in the horizon, the price of crude oil also responds to that. It's a very volatile security product. So now that good news is coming, you can see that a lot of the companies involved in oil production, they are coming back to life, and because of that, demand is getting higher. Look at the U.S. I was reading about the U.S. They said 365,000 oil rigs in the U.S. have suddenly come alive. So the response to the fact that those oil rigs have come up is that there will be demand for crude oil, and as a result, prices will go up. So that is what we are facing. But as Emeka said earlier, it is not altogether good news for us, because the higher the price in the international market, the higher the cost of paying subsidy. Right now, the NNPC wants us to believe that we are consuming about 93 million liters a day. I disagree. Even with a gun to my neck, I won't agree. And They are saying, oh, the bulk of that is caused by smuggling. Why have we become so porous that smuggling can be so easy? 93, during the Jonathan years, it wasn't even up to 30. It was between 27 million liters a day to 30 million liters. So we are now saying that it's around 93. I mean, there are a lot of explanation.
We don't have increased industrialization.
No, and you can't tell me that there's greater prosperity now than that time.
No, not at all.
No, you can't. For a lot of people, things are a lot worse now. You can, except you go to the motor licensing office and you can provide evidence that more and more people have bought cars now than at that time when the exchange rate was in the region of 185 to the dollar. So we are now in around 502 to the dollar. So it just doesn't, it's against the grain of logic to imagine that is because the higher the consumption, the daily consumption level, the higher we pay as subsidy. So we are now subsidizing the product for smugglers, for people outside of our country. I mean, it's terrible.
Emeka, so at the end of the day, if we have stability in the price of dollars in the international markets, it will be counterproductive to us.
Yeah, it will, unless we can quickly do something about local demand. Forget about Port Harcourt refinery for this year. Forget about it. Getting it repaired, forget about it. The closest you can look at is Dangote refinery, the one in Akwa Ibom. You know, the refinery being proposed in Akwa Ibom. That's the closest you can get. So, but what we still have right now is massive importation. And then if you look at it, okay, you talked about the number of oil rigs that have become active in the US. So what that brings in is that there is the projection that oil price might rise to $100, but that increased shale demand in the US will knock it down to about $80. So even at $80, yes, there is more money coming into the Nigerian treasury, but a lot of money is going to be leaving, you know, the treasury for subsidy. So the point is this. You see, government must decide, it must make up its mind. When you're talking about investing in Dangote refinery and investing in refineries with high capacity, you have to be transparent and clear about what you mean, about what you want to do. Let's not run back.
Will Dangote refinery bring down prices?
Won't agree.
I don't think anybody has come out to tell us that Dangote refinery will bring down prices. We have not had that conversation.
We've not, and will even agree for government to have, you know,
remember even what was
no,
that is not going to get into that kind of conversation with anyone. Remember also the proposition by high-ranking staff of Dangote refinery that we should, in the case of Dangote refinery being shut down for maintenance, that only companies that are licensed to bring in products should be allowed to, that have refinery license should be allowed to bring in products. So how many of those companies in Nigeria have license to refine petroleum products?
I have Ada. Ada is calling us from Jos, Plateau State. Ada, thank you for joining us.
Hello?
Yes, Ada from Jos. Hello.
All right, go ahead, Ada.
Good evening, Hangout. God bless you, Flo. You're doing a good analysis.
Thank you.
In fact, Babajide is a living truth. If they say they don't know where those listeners are, let them bring him and they'll take them to where they are. All I want to say here is this insurgency, what we're talking about, can't it be fought simultaneously? That's all they fought it at the same time, so they cannot flee to any other place at the same heaven. All this idea of saying that we should defend ourselves, the same people will say don't carry AK-47 or 49 or whatever, and yet you want to be, isn't it a shoot-eye sport? Then when it comes to this oil market, as you have said it all, people have said it all there, especially Mr. Meka Madanago. When that price goes up there, here we feel the brunt. It's either the government will use all the money to subsidize, that's digging a new hole to fill an old one, or the subsidy will be removed and we will feel the brunt. It will now lead to spiral inflation. So what are we talking about in Nigeria? We have tried as a people. I don't know what is wrong, what is going on. The president doesn't want to do anything much about this killer headsmen. They are told us they are from Mauritania, they are from Central Africa.
I don't have time.
Are we interested in where they are from? Let's not give up on.
Thank you for calling all the way from Plateau. Just so ultimately, can we sustain this subsidy regime? Because when you hear the quantum of money,
it's not sustainable. Really,
the government,
long term, not sustainable because
we'll be paying 250 naira a litre.
It's not. I mean, you just keep digging deeper into the same hole, and for how long before that hole collapses? So we must do something about domestic production.
I'm sure President Buhari.
We must do something about domestic production.
250 naira per litre.
You know, one of the reasons some people don't like Buhari is how he has moved fuel prices in our country from, I think,
87.
When he took over.
97, yes.
97, abi?
Yes.
To 160. It's not easy.
It has affected everything.
It has affected
transportation.
Anytime you increase fuel prices, the ripple effect is massive.
Massive.
The ripple, it was so. And if subsidy is taken away, I know that we have made billionaires out of some people who do not love their country. But at the same time, if we want it removed, then we should brace up to pay in the region of 250 naira per litre, because with our currency this week, it will determine even how much you at what price you buy petroleum products.
Even worse with all the debts we are owing. So much debt servicing.
Thank you very
much.
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
Thank you very much. Yes.
And Vicky, we are looking forward to on the 18th of this month. Go to is the Okunland.
Yes,
to Omo Atata in Okun Kingdom.
I'm back home. Back home fully.
So some of us will be here to hold forth, but hopefully
we'll try our best. If we can do the program from there, we'll try.
All right, and that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. And don't forget to watch us, Journalist Hangout, on Sunday. That's from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TBC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodedo Zuwakun. God bless Nigeria.